to illustrate the installation process for Juniper Networks SDN Contrail. Contrail is a SDN platform where you can build your cloud networkings like private clouds or service providers, infrastructure as a service, as well as network function virtualizations in service providers network. For the lab purpose, I'm building the control systems on a virtualized machine ESXi. Please refer to the documentations for details on opencontrol.org. There is very deep dive documents on the components and the architectures as well as the operational aspects on Contrail. So in this setup, I'm going to install controls in 5 different nodes. All right. Typically, you will need to have a config nodes for all the configuration processes, collectors, database, as well as the orchestrator installed inside the config node. And you will have a control node. I'm going to implement 2 control nodes as the active control nodes. And you can have multiple compute nodes. And for this case, I'm installing with 2 compute nodes. Compute node is where you will perform all your computing processes in instantiating VM virtual machine system for your customers, for your subscribers, or for your business requirements. And those VMs can be installed with various applications as well as for security purposes. So typically, we will recommend to have at least these 5 nodes on 5 physical servers. And for lab practice, you can actually install all these different nodes in one single box. This video will show you the installation process. For the operational wise, please look at the other documentations or videos on the configurations and adding services on Contrail platform. I have ESX running on the system, and I'm going to deploy the 5 different nodes of Contrail components. The first one I'm going to deploy is the config nodes. All right, and I will deploy the image on my SSD storage installed on my servers. And for config nodes, I will use about 20 gigs of storage space. And this is a Linux CentOS 64-bit platform. Okay, and take a look at the other configuration required for this system, which I will assign 2 virtual CPUs and about 24 gigs or 16 gigs of memory allocated to these virtual machines. And I will make use of the Contrail software downloaded from Juniper Network support sites. It is an ISO image. It contains all the releases built. All right, this is the versions Contrail 1.02 release. Okay, so I'm going to fire up the config node system. Power on, and you can see it will take up the installations of the CentOS. And next, I'm going to install another machines. This is for control nodes, so I will going to deploy 2 control nodes. So control node 1, all right, define CentOS 64 bits OS. All right, assign the hard disk space for it. The whole process will take about an hour or maybe to the 2 hours. It depends on how fast the servers can provision the systems. Right. In my case, I'm using the SSD drive on my servers. It's going to run pretty fast. All right. The same ISO image will be used for all the control nodes. Memory, 2 gigabit is enough. I don't use much memories for as far as I've seen, and 2 virtual CPU assigned allocated to this machine for control node. Right, and I'm doing everything concurrently. Let's take a look at the config nodes. All right, I need to start the process to install the CentOS for config nodes. All right, this is a typical installation process for CentOS, and you can just skip through and use the default configurations. All right, all the configuration nodes will go through this repeated process for the CentOS installation. Make it simple for the password. You are using this just for the lab purpose. You can use the entire drive for your storage space for this node. And right now they are creating the file system and installation process started. Let's take a look at the control node 1. All right, power up the control node. All right, I have not powered up the DVD drive, virtual DVD drive for this nodes. Let's power off and take a look at the config files again. All right, checkbox the connect at power on and restart the virtual machines. Install control. All right, I'm going to create another node. This will be the control node number 2. For this installation process, I will assume that you know how to use your vCenter, and I'm using ESX 5.5. You can actually go without the vCenter since ESX 5.5 is free as a standalone. Select the same image for the control installation media. All right. And select the appropriate attributes or hardware required for this node. Very simple, 2 gigs RAM, 2 virtual CPU. All right. Now I'll create the 4th node, which is the compute node. Now this is a compute node number 1. All right. Install on my SSD hard drive CentOS 64-bit. I cater for more memory, more hard disk space, where you're going to create multiple VMs on these compute nodes. Alright, the virtual machines sitting on these compute nodes can be any applications, can be any operating system, alright, preferably Unix system. Link up to the installation ISO file. And I'm going to assign more CPU for these compute nodes, as if there are multiple virtual machines running, I may need more virtual CPU. Memory space depend, alright, give it as much as possible for your applications to process. Okay, let me take a look at the compute node. Power on the compute node. Alright, and I'll take a look at my config node to check whether have it's been installed successfully. Alright, CentOS has been configured, and now I will need to take a look at my control node number 1, and I will let it run by itself on the CentOS installation. Assign a password for the control node 1. In fact, I'm using the same password for all the nodes for lab purpose. Alright, now the process of installation for CentOS begin. Take a look at my config node and check. Okay. I'm going to install the last nodes that require for this lab. That is the compute node number 2. I will use the same installation image. The hard disk typically will be as much as possible. CentOS 64-bit. Alright. Over here, I've just provided around 60 or 50. Too much. Not going to have it used for life. Okay, select my installation image on the CentOS Contrail Media ISO file. Power on upon connect, and memory space, I will use about 8 gig over here, since I'm installing all my control nodes in the same physical servers. So if you have your machine, physical machines like 32 gig RAM or 64 gig RAM or even more, right, normally you will use all the memory processors that you have. Alright, take a look at my compute node number 1. I need to start off to install the CentOS. Alright. Okay. I reboot my control node 1. So right now I have the config node installation completed for CentOS. The control node number 1 completed, and now I need to start up on the control node number 2. Right, installation process for CentOS for this control node number 2. The process, repeated process for all the default configuration for this CentOS. Password for the CentOS. Alright, installation for the control node number 2 begin. And let me take a look at the compute node power up. For the compute node number 2, right, I can same thing, fire up and begin with the installation process for CentOS. Alright. So by now I will have config nodes installed, control node 1, control node 2 is in progress, and begin for the compute node 1, and then I will jump to the compute node number 2. Alright, and so far at this stage I'm doing the CentOS installation. Okay, controls run on top of the CentOS. You can also use Fedora system. Alright, compute node log on. Okay, this is a config node. I need to change some of the network configuration so that I can access from my external computer. Alright, so I need to make sure that the internet drivers, alright, on my CentOS is in correct shape. So I need to, first thing is that I need to enable the boot startup for the Ethernet 0. Alright, and I'm not going to use the DHCP process. I will be using a static IP address for this config node. Alright, typically for all the control nodes, you will use the static IP address. Alright, so assign it to run my config node on 10.100.13.100. Make it simple for this case. All my other nodes will be in the same consecutive IP address range. Netmask is class C, gateway is 254 to my MX virtual MX system, and the network followed by the broadcast IP address range. Okay, I need to reboot the process, alright, so that I can SSH to my system immediately. It'll be much easier to SSH to the system and do the other configuration. Okay, next I'll take a look at the control node 1. Same thing, I will do the same task to configure, make sure that the Internet 0 will be up and running on next reboot, and I also configure the IP address for this node. Right. So VI to the files IF Ethernet 0, and on boots change to yes, and the boots protocol change to static. IP address will be .101 assigned for this control node number 1. The rest is the same. Netmask followed by gateway, followed by networks, as well as the broadcast address, IP address range. Then do a reboot. You could also follow the documents written on the support software download site. It is well documented, including the CentOS installation down to the preparations for control system. And you can do various topologies of this control. You can have multiple compute nodes, multiple control nodes, and the config nodes. And you can also have your orchestrator database in different nodes. So right now I'm doing the compute node number 2. This is the last control nodes for compute that I need to install on this setup. Enter the password and click OK. I use all the 40 gig hard drive that I have allocated for this compute node. Right now installation begin. Okay, let's continue with other tasks. So far, it just takes me about 10 minutes, to install all the CentOS systems on the 5 nodes on my servers. Now I'm doing the control nodes network card configuration. Control node number 2. On boot, yes, and boot protocol set to static. The IP address is .102 for control node 2. Network mask is classy. Gateway is .254. After the configuration of all the nodes and reboot, make sure you can ping to all the nodes. And if the ping is not working, you need to check what is wrong on your config file. Reboot process. And right now, I need to check on my compute node 1. I need to do the same thing. static IP address, and the IP address is 103 for the compute node number 1. Gateway is 254. After this, I need to check on my compute node number 2. Networks. And the broadcast IP address. And I save it. Save this file and reboot process. Okay, now on to the compute node number 2. Reboot. Right. So after reboot, I can configure the network driver. Config node number 1. Let's check. Alright. Okay, I VI to the system. I need to check the etc config file networks. Alright, and I need to assign the correct name. So for this case, the config node will be config.datacenter1 DC1. And let me bring up the host files. Alright, so typically the host file will be the same for all my nodes. Okay, which I need to define the IP address for each different node inside my host file. I will do a cut and paste, alright, to make it simple. Let me take a look at compute node number 2. I need to change the network driver for this compute node number 2. On boot, change to yes, and the boot portal to static, and define the IP address, which is 10.100.13.104, and the net mask. Classy. With this, I would have complete all the basic network configuration, except I'm still in progress doing the host file and the network file for all the nodes. Done. Save the file, and I reboot the system. I need to actually want to cut and paste the a set of host file. Let me fire up my SSH applications secure CRT. Alright, to make it simple, I'm going to connect to my config nodes. Alright, so this is the first time. VI to the host file, and I'm going to cut and paste. Okay, so this is what I want to put in. All right, all the IP address for all the different nodes as well as the gateway. All right, reboot the process. Okay, and next I need to connect to the node control node as well. Do the same thing. All right. (101) accept the finger. Login as root. Alright, I'm in, and next I need to VI to my host file, and also this I believe I have not done the network yet. Cut and paste is pretty fast. Alright. My network, okay. Change to control node 1.dc1. Okay, save the file. That's it for compute control node 1, and I need to reboot. Okay. Next. Now is control node number 2. Alright, login, SSH. VI, I need to change the host file. Let's cut and paste. No, just paste. Alright. Which contains all the nodes, network name. And I need to change the network file as well. So you have one control node, you just do one. Right, for my case, I have two control nodes, I will do twice. You have three, you do 3 times. Control node's name is host name is control node control2.dc1. Alright, reboot, and I need to go through the compute node number 1. Alright. Compute node number 2, I need to change the network Ethernet 0 driver. Alright, let me check. Okay, done. Now, in fact, all the nodes have been pre-configured, have been already completed is configuration for the network card, and I SSH to the compute node 1, right, to change the host file and the network file. Host file for all the nodes network name, or the host name. Okay, and save, and now I need to go and alter the network file etc sysconfig/network. Alright, change to compute node 1.dc1, save. Okay, it needs 6 to reboot. And now I will go to my compute node number 2. Right. Log on. This is my host file that I am editing. I paste the return config, and now I need to change the sysconfig network, alright, to indicate the host name, which is compute2.dc1. So reboot. Okay, so I have complete the second phase to initialize all the network configuration. All right. Now come to the last phase to install the control system. Make sure that I can ping to all the nodes 101, 102, and 103. I'm in the compute node. All right, just go into the opt/control. All right, go to the control/_packages. All right, and I need to run the setup shell to install all the RPMs files required for control. Okay, done. Now let me go to the utilities files, and I need to check I need to change the Python script. I'll be using the test-bed multi-box sample, all right, to create my testbed.py. So I will copy it. I can also copy the file across that I have pre-configured on my Python, on my testbed.py. Go to test bed. Alright, so the file is not there. So I have a testbed.py. Okay, right now, let me check the testbed.py files. Wrong. Okay, I need to change the configuration for this file. So I have defined the IP address for all the hosts. I have 5 hosts running. Alright, and the roles is required. Alright, during the installation process for Contrail, they will propagate the correct files and applications to the correct host. Okay, now I get back to the utilities folders and I can do the install. Fab install. Underscore control. Alright. Now I'm running the fab install underscore control system. It's going to take a long process. It's going to take a long while. Let me cut this out. Okay, right now it reboots the compute node 103 and 104. Alright, disconnected from so I need to run setup all. Okay, the setup has been completed for all the nodes. Alright, let me fire up the browser again and go to my control system. .13.100.8080. Okay, log on to my control. Oh. Wrong password. Okay, right now my control is running. I'm on the dashboard. Alright. Okay, that's all for my demo. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye bye.